Alright, well the Eagles won a close one in what shouldn't have been that close. Meanwhile, Nick Sirianni made headlines for his antics afterward, but did at least offer an apology. However, there's a couple player storylines that deserve more attention, like Cooper DeJean showing out in his first start, AJ Brown doing swole Batman things, and Bryce Huff looking totally different. So what did Agent Zero say did the trick to the pass rush, and can we expect it to keep up? Plus, it looks like Philly will be without at least one key starter for multiple weeks. So let's talk about that and everything else from Week 6, but first, let's run it. What's up, guys? Do me a favor and hit that like button because the Eagles won. Also, I'm going to be giving away any Eagles jersey of your choice in this video, so all you got to do is hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed, and then comment any takeaway you had from the win over the Browns. Yes, I know there were some concerning red flags, and we will get to those, but let's start with some optimism. I mean, not going to lie, but it was great to see AJ Brown back out there, with swole Batman proving why he's quite possibly the best wide receiver in the league, while racking up 116 yards with one absolutely insane touchdown grab. Oh yeah, and a game-sealing catch on the Birds' final possession. Of course, we can't forget about Devonta Smith either, since the Slim Reaper finished the game with 3 catches, 64 yards, and 1 touchdown. Plus, if you want another positive, both Jalen Hurts' touchdown passes were against the blitz, as he's continued to show growth and improvement in that area. Although what I really didn't expect to see was that Grant Calcaterra, the backup tight end, was the leading receiver for just about most of the game. By the way, this was after Dallas Goedert left with a hamstring injury, so we'll continue to monitor how bad that is, but considering he didn't come back in, you'd have to imagine it could be at least a game or two before he comes back. However, Calcaterra was good, really good. And that may have been the biggest surprise for Jalen, seeing that he doesn't typically look for guys outside of AJ and Smitty. Yet even though Nick Sirianni said before the game we were going to be looking for some surprises and some change-ups, I'm pretty sure that was not the part he was talking about.
It's Brittany, bitch. And I am back.
Look, I'm all for whatever works and gets this thing turned around. But the image and feel of Sirianni embracing his Brittany era definitely stirred up social media.
Is he okay?
Honestly, I don't really know, and according to almost 90% of you voters, you would also say no. Because this is a dude who literally started trash-talking Eagles fans after beating the Browns. Now, to be fair, they were chanting "Fire Nick" beforehand, to which he had a response to that.
I was having fun, and I kind of got some feedback from the guys, is the sense of like, we need you back, Nick. We need your energy. We need your focus. We need your, like, I've gotten that from a couple players, and you know, when I'm operating and having fun, I think that breeds to the rest of the football team. We thrive off the crowd when they cheer for us. That's all I'll say. Like, when our crowd cheers for us, we thrive off them. You know, and you know, we hear them when they boo. We don't necessarily like it. I don't think that's productive for anybody. But you know, when they cheer for us and when we got them rolling, you know, we love it.
I encourage him to be himself.
I just told him to be him. I need him to be 2022 Nick, you know, so we can get there. Because, like, we just want people to be themselves. At the end of the day, Coach been taking a bunch of heat, and I understand he got a lot of stuff on him. We got his back because, you know, Philly can be hard. I know all about it. But, you know, like how I do it every day, I always said that they going to eat the words that they say. And so I know that's what Nick probably saying, too. And every chance that he get, you let him know, just like I would, too. So I don't know what he said, but I know it got something to do with that.
Well, to his credit, that is at least who Sirianni is. I mean, think back to 2022 after barely beating the Indianapolis Colts, where the Eagles head coach called out Indy fans for their organization firing Frank Reich, and it's not entirely shocking or unexpected. However, the difference here is that was opposing fans, and these ones are your own. And we know better, so don't try gaslighting us into thinking it was a crazy good win. Anyway, fast forward to the following day, and Sirianni was at least apologizing.
And I'm sorry and disappointed on how my energy was directed at the end of the game. And, you know, my energy should be all in on coaching, motivating, right, and celebrating with our guys. And so, you know, that's, you know, and I got to have better wisdom and discernment of when to use that energy, and that wasn't the time.
All right, cool. At least he apologized, but again, the more alarming part is that this is the Browns and they are bad, which is why I don't understand any kind of parading around afterward. By the way, just how bad, you may ask, are the Browns? Well, they're the first NFL team in 10 years to not score more than 18 points in any of their first 6 games. Although, unfortunately, the Eagles have their own dubious record after this game, too, since they've now failed to score in a single point in the first quarter in 5 straight games, which is a franchise record. Yet, according to Sirianni, that's not really that big of a deal.
Y'all making a big deal about it. I mean, it's like, guys, we're going to figure it out. We're going to fix it. We've known how to score in the past. Like, we get it. You guys have a job to do, and you're going to fixate on one thing, and you're going to be like, oh, they haven't started fast, or they haven't turned the ball over. Like, we got it. Like, we're going to do everything we can do to fix it. Like, and I don't want that to be in their heads. That's why I'm basically telling you guys, all right, we got it. We'll figure it out.
Sorry, but I completely disagree because you're telling me with this squad, and again, remember, we came into this game fully healthy, we can't get a single point in the first quarter. Like if I had told you at the start of the season, there's going to be one NFL team through 6 weeks that does not score a single point in the first quarter, the Eagles would definitely not have been one of those first teams you mentioned. By the way, while that is a big deal, I saw Sirianni bringing his kids or using his kids as human shields comments from the presser, and I think that's being a bit dramatic. Yes, it does seem convenient to have them there, but just a little bit of research will have you realize Sirianni just about always brings his kids with him to pressers following a win. It's just that we've had so few home wins in the past 10 regular season games that it feels so out of place. Anyway, I think we're getting off track if we're making that the story rather than focusing on the offense. Something Lane Johnson also emphasized needs work.
I think sometimes we make it harder on ourselves, and sometimes we can be more efficient. Put things in the end zone instead of settling for a field goal.
I keep thinking this will maybe be the week, but then we don't see any sort of meaningful change, at least early. I mean, thankfully they got things figured out later, but we're clearly all at the point of doing whatever it takes to fix this offense.
I said I feel like a very constipated offense.
1/2 teaspoon for fast, effective relief.
I'm up for anything at this point. Now, personally, I still believe that there's a little bit of a lack of complexity and creativity within this offense and the scheme, but having said that, while I understand the logic when seeing A.J. Brown's route chart from Next Gen Stats versus the Browns, especially when compared next to a game with Keenan Allen from a season ago, I think the general understanding is that A.J. and Keenan aren't the same type of receivers. Plus, take a glance at some Devonta Smith route trees and usage this year, and Kellen Moore is still more involved. For example, take a look at the first play of the game. You've got motion where Jalen ends up looking off the safety and then throwing back to A.J. Brown on a back shoulder throw. Unfortunately, it's just a little bit off, and perhaps a miscommunication from the players, but the play was there. Also, I did hear several of y'all's comments citing if Jalen had just taken a bit more time to come back to Goedert, he would have scored, which is possibly true, but given the 5-man pressure and looking off the safety, Hurts still at least had a play there that could have been made. But most importantly, that first play call is what the Eagles should potentially look to do more of. Because shout out to Eagles Eric, but the second play of shotgun spread with no motion isn't going to cut it, and is obviously what we saw way too much of last season. Again, hear me out, I'm not saying that Sirianni is not involved in this offense, he is. In fact, I've done several videos on it recently. Although now, the more alarming part is that it sounds like he may have gotten a taste for inserting himself into the defensive play calls as well.
I'll say this, I made the call on 3rd and 1, nobody else but me. And, like I said to you, sometimes I did that on defense one time as well. Made a call on defense. That didn't work out, just so you know. I'll put that out there. That wasn't on Vic. I won't tell you which play. But I'm going to do that from time to time. This time it didn't work. And so that's not nobody else but me.
Hang on. Managing the offense was bad enough, but now you're telling me this dude is trying to venture into the defensive side of the ball? Okay, maybe we pump the brakes, because Zach Berman's theory is that it's just Sirianni taking the approach of falling on the sword for anything and everything he deems a hot button play.
Sometimes truth isn't good enough. Sometimes people deserve more. So we'll hunt him. Because he can take it.
No, I'm not saying Sirianni is anything like our Dark Knight. But while I don't necessarily agree with a lot of his antics, it again wouldn't be that far off to think Berman's onto something. Since remember, last season when the Eagles lost in a late game situation, he claimed it was his decision to basically just play for a defensive pass interference rather than run a quality play. Yet later, A.J. Brown revealed the head coach was just covering up for the players for some ad-libbing that was being done. Regardless though, I get it. Sirianni's meddling, unsuccessful micromanaging has gotten a lot of us fired up. However, being that as it may, I don't want to completely overshadow the players because there's several guys who deserve shout-outs. I mean, even though the offense wasn't firing on all cylinders, Jalen Hurts finished the game 16 for 20 after missing his first 5 passes, which eventually led to Philly taking the lead on a Jake Elliott field goal early in the second quarter. And then after the defense limited the Cleveland Stains offense to give the ball back to Jalen, the group put together their best series of the entire game, where QB1 found Calcaterra for a catch and run for 34 yards and then went a couple plays to Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown, before finally going to A.J. on a 22-yard pass for a score. And not that we need a reminder for this, but Swole Batman is everything to this offense.
You watch this right here. Martin Emerson's in great shape. Watch him put this arm up. He knows the ball's coming. He's seeing A.J. reach for the ball. A.J.'s going to catch the ball. He's going to catch Martin Emerson's arm. He's going to grab it all right here. Like, this is unbelievable. There's the arm. Watch, he's going to catch the arm and the ball together. Like, that's strength. When they say he's big physical, that's what they're talking about. Look, he's got Martin Emerson's arm and the ball. And Emerson's trying to strip the ball out. And A.J.'s got it just wedged against his helmet. Like, he's not getting that ball out. He's trying. Emerson's trying like crazy. But that's A.J. Brown. He's just built different.
Seriously, how many wideouts are hauling that pass in and not dropping that pass? Speaking of drop passes, though, this is about the part during the live stream where I mentioned now is the time when you separate from bad teams. And okay, maybe it was my fault, but the Eagles nearly did that when Deshaun Watson offered up a jump ball for Quinyon Mitchell to come down with his first interception. Except CJ Gardner-Johnson ended up running into Q and both guys dropped the opportunity. Honestly, either of them could have made that pick, but you could tell just how much it meant to Q, seeing how visibly frustrated he was after the play.
Oh, no, it was good. It was just two ball players trying to make a play. So, like I said, both ball hawks are trying to make a play. That's it.
That's just two guys trying to make a play for the team. So, I mean, as long as you got two DBs in there instead of one receiver in there, I mean that's a good sign, I guess, right? So, I mean, just continue to attack the ball in there, and next time I guess somebody got to call it.
Thankfully, the defense held and forced a field goal to make it a 10-3 ball game. And then a quick hitter from Jalen to Calcaterra looked like the Birds might get another 7 before the half, as AJ was called on once again for a couple big plays as well, followed by a pass to Saquon, although some lack of focus or just not paying attention resulted in Barkley running out of bounds before gaining the first down, setting up a 3rd and 1 with 32 seconds left in the first half. But to make matters worse, Barkley missed a blitz pickup on the next play and Hurts took a sack to bring up a 57-yard field goal attempt. By the way, that sack was one of the plays that Sirianni brought up as one of his calls that didn't work. Man, further look on it shows no quick hitters available to Jalen despite the incoming blitzes, so yeah, that's probably accurate. But back to the field goal attempt, how many of us were like Chris Long in that moment?
57-yarder. Plus you're going to be blocked. Is there someone back there for a return? I told you. Did I tell you? Ew, you jinxed it. No, I didn't jinx it. I told you what would happen. I told Rodney McLeod. I told you. Where's the camera? I told you. I told you what would happen.
I think it's just the fact that what can go wrong will go wrong. At least it's felt that way so often. Now sure, shout out to Myles Garrett for making an absolute monster of a play. But Michael Clay's special teams unit has been bad. Like, we gotta be fair, we gave him a lot of credit for last season, but this year has been terrible. Whether it's guys running into each other, being out of position, not understanding the rule, or just lacking overall awareness. Seriously, there's been at least one major mistake on special teams every single game, and this one naturally led to it being 10-10 at half. Now, obviously, the good news is that some halftime adjustments helped a bit, as the defense ended up forcing a field goal attempt from 52 that Dustin Hopkins missed wide right. However, while the end justifies the means, Nakobe Dean looked remarkably bad on that opening possession, as the Philly linebacker missed a couple tackles in the game by being flat-footed, not sound on the fundamentals, and easily getting juked by Deshaun Watson. And yeah, he did lead the team in tackles and made a couple good plays, yet again, he continues to miss way too many tackles for the Birds to compete versus a potent offense. Anyway, the missed field goal led to a couple punts from both teams before the Eagles took the ball to try to take the lead. And quite honestly, seeing a Jahan Dotson catch and run for 13 yards was pretty shocking, since it seemed like there was nothing that would get the former first-round pick involved. But Kellen used that in a couple runs to get into field goal range before a couple false starts killed the drive, as Jake Elliott connected on a 44-yard attempt to go up 13-10. Although, just when it looked like the Birds could try to build some momentum with an opening sack from Josh Sweat, the Browns offense responded with a series of methodical plays to hit a 49-yarder to tie the game. Now, come on, I realize that nothing was very pretty about this game, yet it was nice to see Jalen come up clutch in the fourth quarter, before hitting Devonta Smith on a beautifully run mesh route that led to a 45-yard score. Again, Jalen didn't start well, but he seemed to get better as the game went on, finishing with 264 yards and 2 touchdowns. And oh yeah, most importantly, ending the game with 0 turnovers, which for the record is the first time since Week 9 last season that Jalen's had multiple touchdown passes and no interceptions. Also, to further that along, it's the first time in 10 games that Jalen has not had a turnover, so yeah, just the relief in that itself is something. By the way, that was the same feeling I had for the defense getting a stop on Cleveland's final possession, with the bend but don't break defense doing just that, as the Stains got all the way down to the 3-yard line before multiple false starts and an incompletion made Kevin Stefanski decide to kick a field goal down 7 with 3:54 to play. Now look, I'll say this, hindsight's 20/20, we all understand that, but still, when you go back to this point, I can't really comprehend what Kevin Stefanski's doing there and why he decided to not go ahead and try to score a touchdown. I know, he had timeouts and there was still time in the game, plus we've seen Jalen struggle at times to close things out, but not on Sunday, with QB1 hitting Jahan Dotson on a perfect strike for 10 yards in the first down, followed by the eventual deep shot to A.J. Brown that put the game on ice. I hear you, definitely a risk there to take that shot, but I guess that's why you pay your superstars what you do. However, surprisingly, Saquon didn't dominate like we expected him to, as Cleveland bottled him up nearly all game to the tune of 18 carries for 47 yards. As it was definitely the worst showing so far from 26. But even so, like I said, the positive is that this group played clean football for once. I'm not saying it was pretty football, heck, it was too close, too sloppy, too scary, but at least it was clean football.
You didn't ask me about how good the defense played. They played their ass off. Chauncey showed up, Jalen Carter showed up, BG showed up in his 200 game. The young corners showed up, everybody showed up, and so we just need to keep flying around, keep playing as a team, really continue to play complementary football. We got to continue in that aspect of the game.
Yeah, the young corners definitely showed up. And shout out to Anthony DeBona, but Quinyon Mitchell allowed 1 reception on 4 targets for 10 yards, while adding another pass breakup and 33 coverage snaps. And then Cooper DeJean allowed 2 receptions on 4 targets for 13 yards and 26 coverage snaps. Although my favorite part was hearing that the first and second round picks swapped jerseys after the game.
I mean, it's just our first game out there together, so just felt like we should swap jerseys.
And I know when you guys got drafted, I'm sure you envisioned moments like this. Did it live up to the hype, you two playing together?
Oh yeah, it was great. You know, I feel like he did a great job. We came out of prepared and we executed.
Hey, that's his first go-around on the track, so keep it going.
How do you think he did?
He did an amazing job. Sorry I got finished the sack, but I mean, other than that, I mean, first game as a true starter, so as a rookie, you know, you got to get your feet up on you and continue to play, but he did a hell of a job today.
By the way, credit to Coop, and technically the stat sheet says that he only got half a sack. Personally, I'd go with a full one based on seeing the in-game action. Regardless though, DeJean was as advertised, if not maybe better, with the Rook flying around and playing physical, ending the game with 6 tackles and a quarterback hit in addition to the sacks. And speaking of sacks, Bryce Huff was way better on Sunday, as Agent Zero saw his largest snap share of the season, playing in 54% of the Eagles' defensive snaps. And he's clearly getting more confident, with the 26-year-old admitting he definitely saw a bit of a spark Sunday, but that was just a product of playing faster in practice and continuing to emphasize playing faster, while also saying there's no reason it won't continue to get better and production will get even better as well. Let's go. Come on, who doesn't love hearing that, especially after what we've seen so far this season? Now, I also understand, totally can't blame you at all if you're not quick to jump on board, but you should at least take it with some optimism, considering that Huff told Dave Zangaro that he sat down with the coaches to discuss using more 4-point stances to generate explosion. Remember, Brian Baldinger had a great breakdown of how the Eagles were misusing the situational pass rusher during the bye week. So the fact that we saw Fangio be willing to change is really good news. And then you take it a step further and you notice just how good he can be in pass rush when he's comfortable. For example, the swim move on former All-Pro tackle Jack Conklin, as Huff had Conklin all out of sorts on several different plays. For the record, Agent Zero finished the game with multiple pressures, the half a sack I mentioned, and 1 quarterback hit. Plus, even on the plays he didn't register a stat, you can see Huff's ability to force Watson up into the pocket, allowing Jalen Carter to finish him off. And it wasn't just the pass rush either, but also in run support, which is clearly what we've all needed to see. And quite honestly, that goes for the whole D-line, since the unit as a whole played a lot more cohesively, with the group racking up 5 total sacks, half for Coop and Huff each, half for Milton Williams and Thomas Booker each, and then 1 for Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, and Josh Sweat. By the way, that's on top of 10 additional quarterback hits from the group as well. Now look, I get it, it's the Browns, but it's still the NFL, so a win is a win. At the same time, I'm not going to sugarcoat it or anything and say this team looks like a playoff team or at least ready to be there yet. Because sure, there's a ton of things they still need to clean up. Plus, Philly's now dealing with a knee injury to Slay and a hamstring injury to Dallas Goedert. And while those don't appear to be quite as serious, Jordan Mailata's hamstring injury does.
This is the play that Jordan Mailata gets hurt. And you can see him right up here working to finish. But you can see right here when he hits the ground, how he grabs his hamstring right there. Hamstrings usually aren't an issue for offensive linemen, but when it goes bad, it's bad for us. So you can see right here, Jordan Mailata walking after the game. It does not look good. Hope you get better, big dog. Somebody get this man a car.
Just FYI, but Nick Sirianni said it appears Mailata will be out at least a couple weeks, if not more. But he is getting an MRI, so we'll keep you posted on any significant injury updates. Look, I know that's not the best news, but I continue to be asked, what's the silver lining? What's the reason for optimism? And me, as the eternal optimist, I will say this. The Eagles are still very much in play for the division. Heck, especially after watching Dallas get straight up embarrassed by the Detroit Lions. So much so that they ended up blurring out the score on their fan appreciation post. And then the Giants still look like the little Giants, at least on offense anyway. Granted, I'm not going to try to go overboard because that D-line's going to be tough this week. But Daniel Jones has reminded us that he's good for 1 awful decision per game. So even though I wouldn't say it's the near guaranteed win that we thought it was going to be initially, the fact that it's Saquon Barkley first time back in New York, I'm still feeling fairly confident. Now, on the flip side, even though the Commanders lost 2, they proved to everyone to take them seriously, as I've been saying for a couple weeks now that they are a good team. Which, by the way, Thomas and I will be at that game, as well as doing a joint giveaway for tickets to that one, so, hit the like button, subscribe, make sure the notifications are turned on so you don't miss out on that one. All right, having gone over all that, let me know what you guys think. The good, the bad, the ugly, all your takeaways from Sunday. At least the Birds are over 500 now. This has been the Philly Special.